I'd like to express my gratitude for this opportunity to be here at Abhayagiri for the last week or so, and to spend time with the community, get to meet the new people I hadn't met before, and reconnect with old companions from way back. During this time, a few different Dhamma themes have come up at different discussions, tea times, breakfast times, and so on. And so one of the themes that was, I think we were talking about yesterday, was what I like to call mindfulness of awkward feeling. As I mentioned in passing, this is something that I find I do a lot. I use this very actively because for all of us, whether we're an anagarika, or a layperson, a bhikkhu, or someone in the position of responsibility, or a junior person, wherever we are in the kind of setup, a visitor or resident, then all of us as human beings encounter these situations where we feel, oh dear, what am I going to do with this? Or, oh, this is just what I didn't want to happen. Or, oh my goodness, my name is on this. How do I work with this one? Or, oh dear, I've got to perform when everyone's watching. You can fill in the blanks yourselves. And we often do whatever we can to get away from that awkward feeling, that kind of discomfort, and we try to evade it or to just sort of tense up and resist it, or get lost in that quality of difficulty. So I found it extraordinarily helpful to be bringing attention to that very feeling, that sense of, oh dear, this is exactly what I didn't want to happen, and here it is. What do I do with this? And to recognize that we don't have to believe in those thoughts, so that state of awkwardness, that feeling, that quality of mood is something that has arisen. It's another mental state. It doesn't have to be believed in. It's not telling the truth. It's just a pattern of experience, and that like many things in our field of experience, when you bring attention to it, it's not so difficult or impossible or off-putting or unworkable as our thoughts would tell us. So similarly with fear, we try very hard to get away from that feeling of being afraid and get to a place where it's safe so we won't feel that. But with awkward feeling, that bringing of attention to that very sense of, oh dear, not this is just what I didn't want, or like, I'm in the middle of something else, how can you ask me to do that, or don't you realize this is really important? How can you kind of dismiss my particular obsession as being insignificant or unimportant? You can't do that. This is my thing. This is my project. And the alertness of mind, if that's there, to catch that awkward feeling, that, oh no, don't do that, to catch that and to know, oh, this is an uncomfortable feeling, an awkward feeling, this is just what I didn't want to happen, this is my particular project being dismissed or obstructed, or I'm being taken away from it, and to be able to know that as a feeling in itself, and to name it. Say, oh, this is the, how can this not be important to you? Doesn't everyone know this is the most important thing in the world? Feeling. Or, oh dear, I'm being asked to do this, and I really don't know what I'm supposed to be, say, bringing to this, and I've been put in charge, and I don't really know what I'm doing. Feeling. So that the catching of that, recognizing it as a mood, as a wave of perception, and to be able to know it just as that, and particularly when you're in a position of responsibility and asked to make decisions about the community or work projects or teaching engagements or activities, it's a very, very regular occurrence. I don't think the Ajahns would argue with me. But, oh dear, what do I do with this one? Feeling. And that there's a strange chemistry that happens, I find, that when the attention is brought to that and it's known as a wave of feeling, then it's suddenly digestible. There's more space around it, and the mind recognizes, not from a place of theory or just a concept, but in the heart there's a recognition, oh, this is just a feeling. It's just like a stone in your shoe, or a feeling of coldness or heat from the sun, and it's just this. It's nothing special, it's nothing dangerous, it's nothing impossible. And that spaciousness in relationship to that feeling then enables the mind to attune to the situation in a more complete and unbiased way. The sati sampajanya, mindfulness and full awareness, is able to operate rather than the bias of what I want, what I was expecting, what I think is important, or what's got my name on as a responsibility. That self-view falls away, and action can be guided by mindfulness and wisdom, by mindfulness and full awareness. In community life, we each have our own particular domains, and so it becomes natural to think, if you're in charge of the kitchen, of course the kitchen is the most important thing. Or if you're a workshop person, then of course the bandsaw is the most important thing in Abhayagiri. Or the joining machine. Was it the jointer? The jointer. The jointer. Really, Abhayagiri is actually the most important thing at Abhayagiri. It's not the Ajahns or the Buddha Dhamma. It's really the jointer is really it. Or if you're in charge of the books and the library, well, really, actually, what we're here for is the Dhamma literature. This, everything else is kind of supportive of that, but really, we all know that the most important thing is the books, and so, or the water system. And so the thing that you've got your name on, or you have a responsibility for, that naturally becomes where the mind likes to go, the tendency that this is the most important thing. And that when something gets in the way of that, or something says, oh, doesn't really matter, or you don't need to be doing that, there can be this feeling of, what? Don't you realise? You can't take me away from my bandsaw. Me not in the kitchen? What? The world will stop turning, the sun will not rise. So that's very, very helpful to bring attention to that, to notice this is what I'm obsessed with, and I make this particular thing the most important aspect of monastic life. And showing up for the chanting, or developing the meditation, or living harmoniously with your fellow monastics. Well, what really matters is the library or the kitchen or the calendar or the bandsaw. Years ago at Chithurst, when we were fixing the roof, my job was the gutters. I became the monastery gutter snipe. So, that was my job, was just doing the gutters. And the Chithurst roof is really complicated. It's kind of lots of ins and outs, and it's not just a single rectangle. So it took weeks and weeks and weeks to do the gutters. So I was just, that was my world, was the gutters. And even when I was away from Chithurst, we were sort of driving through the country lanes, all I'd see was gutters, people's houses. And, how do they do that hopper? Where's the downpipe? Oh, that's cast iron, that's really difficult to fix. So the world was just gutters for that period of time, and then after a few months, after the job was finished, it fell away. So in terms of community life and this development, mindfulness of feeling, and particularly these sort of awkward feelings, or feeling obstructed or frustrated and irritated, it's a very powerful tool for developing community harmony, so that you can bring attention and say, well, at the moment, this has got value, my mind has given this particular thing value. 3 years ago, it didn't exist. Now it's the thing. In 3 years' time, 5 years' time, I'll have forgotten about it, and something else will be the thing. So we keep that in context, that even though we take care of the jobs that we have, the responsibilities that have our name on, we take care of that with care and sincerity. We keep that in the context of, well, it's just my particular job or my particular obsession, or my mind's sort of picked this up and made this really important because of these circumstances. But in itself, how could it not be an empty sankhara? How could this be the one real thing in the universe? So that then when the mind holds it in context, then we're much more able to relate harmoniously with each other. We can respect other people's obsessions, and their responsibilities, their duties, their role in the community, and we are able to take care of our own say vata, our own duties, our own area of activity, but then that will harmonize, be harmoniously attuned to the activities around us and the flow of all the days. So I offer these thoughts for reflection this morning. I actually did fall from the scaffolding into this. Yeah,
that couldn't be safe, on that roof.
I went through the scaffolding into the flower bed, and on the way down, the only thought in my mind was, "I hope nobody's watching." So that was a profound insight into vanity. Vanity is more. Ego death was more dangerous than physical death. It was a revealing insight. Being impaled on a piece of scaffolding was that didn't really matter, but as long as no one saw me being an idiot, that was the important thing. There's a very nice boxwood bush in the flower bed that rescued me.